Hey there, I'm professional psychic Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up for Sunday, May 29th, 2022. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending some of your valuable time with me. I appreciate those of you who have recently subscribed to my channel. I appreciate those of you who have subscribed at any point, particularly those of you who have been with me since the start a couple years ago. So I have built my psychic business in Austin, Texas since 1988, 34 years, primarily through word of mouth and referrals. So I would love for this channel to spread in just the same way. For those of you who find this video and really like it, to turn around and share it with a handful of your friends and loved ones, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so I wanted to start off by giving a shout out to my new friend, Cecilia, who I met this weekend at a native prayer circle. I sat next to her and her husband and her 10-month-old baby, which I got to play goo goo eyes with and hands and footsies with, and actually got to hold while she slept for a good chunk of time. So it was just a blessing. This is the second time I've done a native prayer ceremony. This one was in a teepee. There were 45 adults and 8 children. It was just a really lovely group of people. And as a thank you to me for engaging with her baby during her ceremony, she gave me these very cool fox earrings. I love them. So anyway, they're all got the good prayer juju from the ceremony, and I'm sure she's been wearing them for a while. So I just wanted to thank you, Cecilia, for your gift and just the pleasure of sitting next to you and your beautiful family during the prayer circle. So, and also a shout out to Angelica for inviting me in the first place. So anyway, and also for those of you who did not watch last week's video, I had a special guest, Amista Bennett, and we had a great dialogue discussion about how we both feel that everyone is psychic, and kind of dove into that subject. So if you're interested in how you might also be psychic, and I believe everyone is, that's a great video to catch if you haven't watched that already. And then we both did readings for all the signs, so that was also very cool. So this week, as usual, I'm going to talk about the transits for the week, and then I'll do mini readings for all 12 signs. So the highlights of this week's transits are a new moon tomorrow, Monday. It'll be exact at 6:30 a.m. Austin, Texas time, Monday morning, Memorial Day. It'll be in Gemini. Then also this week we have Mercury going direct on Friday after 3 weeks of being retrograde. And then we have Saturn going retrograde on Sunday. So those are the highlights. I'll talk about more in depth now about these transits, but I just wanted to throw those out there for you so you could pencil those in on your calendars. So let's start with the sun. So the sun is now in Gemini. It's at 8 degrees as I'm recording this. So in the first decan, it'll move into the second decan. So decan or decan, depending, different people pronounce it different ways. 0 to 9 is the first decan, 10 to 19 is the second, and 20 to 29 is the third. So each decan has different resonance, different energies. So the sun in Gemini brings out the highlights of the Gemini energy. And then also exaggerated on that is the moon is now in Gemini. As I'm recording this, it's at 3 degrees. The new moon is when the sun and moon are exactly conjunct. And so, like I said, that'll happen tomorrow, Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. at 9 degrees of Gemini. So if you have any planets or points around this 9 degree, and within 7 degrees is considered conjunct, the closer the orb within 3 degrees is usually where you can feel it very powerful or potently. And then if you have aspects that trine or square or oppose or sextile this aspect too, you can feel that personally. So why do we study transits anyway, right? So I don't know about you, but I check the weather forecast pretty much every day, at least, every couple of days. So I have a sense of what the weather's going to be, because I want to know if that it's going to be almost 100 degrees, which has been crazy like that this week. Or the last several weeks here in Austin, it's been crazy high temperatures for spring. But I want to know that there's a chance of thunderstorms so that I can be prepared. Maybe I won't go shopping that day. I won't plan a picnic that day, So transits are very similar in that they forecast an energy, right? They're not predictive in the fact that you can't know that for certain something's going to happen because there's a conjunction or a trine or a square or an opposition, but it sets the climate for those energies to be present. And the longer that I've been studying transits, the more fascinated I am by them, the more I want to dive down deep. And I suggest that if you would like to begin to study transits, to pay attention to the two easiest planets to pay attention to are the sun, where the sun is, the sign that the sun is transiting, because it will be shining a light on the themes of that sign, and then the moon. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days or so. So you can, if you pay attention, you can notice how you're feeling as the moon transits different signs, right? Or notice how the people around you react or are connected, especially if the moon or the sun move through signs that you have in your chart where you have planets or points in, or your loved ones do. Now, we all have all 12 signs in our chart. Even if we don't have any planets in a particular sign, we'll have a sign ruling a particular house. And each house, there's 12 of them in the zodiac wheel, represents a different aspect of your life. So the sign colors that area of your life, even if you don't have planets or points there. All right. So sun and moon in Gemini right now, they'll be new and together early tomorrow morning. So, you know, some of you may not be watching this till after the effect. You can still set the cause for new intentions in the wake of the new moon. But new moons are new beginning times, planting new seeds, right? It's a whole new lunation cycle. We're still feeling the effects of the eclipses that we had. We had an eclipse in Taurus, and then we had an eclipse in Scorpio, a solar and a lunar. So we're still feeling those effects now as well. So we look to the ruler of where the new moon is going to be, right? So the new moon is going to be in Gemini, which means the ruler of this new moon is in Mercury. So we'll start with the Gemini. I mean, is Mercury the planet that rules? See, Mercury retrograde, blah, blah, blah. I've noticed in my videos the last couple of weeks that there's been misspeaks and stuff like that, which is very classic for Mercury retrograde. So let's talk about Gemini themes, and then we'll specifically talk about Mercury and what it's aspecting during this new moon. Okay, so Gemini themes. Gemini rules the 3rd house in the zodiac wheel. So it's the house of communication, communication of all kinds, verbal conversations, writing, emails, text, social media, media in general, journalism is another thing that it represents. It represents our siblings and our neighbors. Early childhood development is 3rd house Gemini stuff. It's short-term travel. It's our technology, our cars and our techno devices. So when we have planets moving through Gemini, we can have these themes, these areas of our life be focused and highlighted. And so, and we have a new beginning in Gemini. So this could be a new beginning. Maybe you are going to start writing in your journal regularly, or you're going to shift something up on social media and start doing something new, start putting out videos, or maybe you're going to be writing your book, or maybe you're going to sit down and have deep level conversations with your significant other or your siblings or your neighbors that may be highlighted, right? So public speaking is also a Gemini theme. So these are highlights, right? And Gemini is the twins. It's an air sign, and it's ruled by Mercury, and which rules your head, your thinking. So when planets move through Gemini, or if you have planets in Gemini, you already know this. Gemini is the twins. And so when we have 2 planets there, it's like having 2 sets of twins or a set of quadruplets up in our heads. And they're batting things back and forth and back and forth. There's a lot of quick energy, you know, it's fast. And so we can all kind of speed up in our speech. We can speed up in our thoughts. We can get too caught up in our thoughts when we have planets going through Gemini. All right. So the ruler of this eclipse is Mercury, which happens to be retrograde still during the eclipse. And it's at 26 degrees of Taurus. So anytime a planet turns direct or retrograde, it kind of slows up before it turns around and becomes its most potent, because it's basically just hanging out on one point. It'll be hanging out at this 26-degree point of Taurus all week, right? It's retrograde still. It's moving super, super, super slowly. So bringing to a head these issues of Mercury and all the things that it relates to, the Gemini house that I just talked about. Mercury also rules Virgo, which is about health and service too. So Mercury events can also be how we volunteer our time and help others, how we heal our bodies, how we do our daily life as well. So we can enter in the Virgo themes of what Mercury represents as well. What's really interesting during this eclipse, Mercury, which is still sitting at 26 degrees of Taurus retrograde. So Taurus energies are about valuing yourself, and where are the people in your life valuing you? And are you doing things in your life in this last decan that show that you're valuing your future? Like, are you putting the best causes forward for your future? When it comes to your thoughts in particular, because it's Mercury, your communication with others as well, plans for travel, that kind of stuff too can be activated. So this Taurus energy is really beautiful. We also have the North Node there. It's at 22 degrees, so it's 4 degrees off of Mercury, but it's conjunct. So the North Node is where we're collectively sitting in class learning about the themes of Taurus, which is valuing ourselves, creating value. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Taurus's energy is a lot about loving ourselves. Venus is the planet of love, who we love, what we love, how we receive energies. I see Taurus also ruling the earth and very creative. So these things get stirred up, but primarily, if like I was just going to pick one thing that I've been seeing with the planets and transits in Taurus recently, is valuing yourself and ensuring that the people that you choose to be spending time with also value you. So this is the North Node lessons right now. So Mercury retrograde is conjunct the North Node. So it's having us have extra thoughts around this theme, right? Even our communications can be around, like, I don't really feel like you value me, or whatever. Our thoughts, our writing can be about, like, am I valuing myself? Do I have self-love, Venus, right? So Venus has just moved into Taurus this last few days. So it's in her home turf. Venus is also the divine feminine. So she is finally like, whoo, she loves it in Taurus, so she can really shine. But it also brings the Venusian energies to a head, which is creativity too. So you may feel extra inspired to create something of value, even if it's just you that values it, right? A work of art, a piece of music, whatever, fill in the blank of creativity. And Gemini is very creative as well. So there's a big energy this week around creativity and new things, right? And I'll get to the new things more too. New moons are new things, but there's other planets that talk about new things as well. But I want to finish in my Taurus scoop. So we've got a stellium in Taurus. Mercury retrograde's there. The North Node is there. Uranus is there at 15 degrees. Uranus is at a semi-square to the world axis. So the world axis is at like 0 degrees of all the cardinal signs. So 0 degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So anytime you have a planet or point on or near the world axis, there's things that it's like extra big events that can happen that can affect everyone on the planet, right? Or if you have planets or points at these 0 degrees or near them within a 3-degree orb is what I feel. 7 degrees, a lot of people say, even 10 degrees. Some astrologers give people a 10-degree orb for conjunctions or whatever. But there's something that you came here to do to help the whole planet, right? So Venus is at 1 degree of Taurus as I record this. So it's just moved into Taurus. So she'll be she's there feeling empowered in her home turf. So that's a beautiful energy that's adding to this new moon energy. So you could have a new start when it comes to creative endeavors, new start when it comes to love and romance, new start when it comes to money. Venus is also your money, how you receive energy. So you could have money coming in, you could get a new job, you can do things to create money yourself. All right, here's the other new beginnings that are super powerful. So Mars moved into its home sign of Aries recently. So it's now at 3 degrees of Aries. We also had Jupiter move into Aries. So Mars has a 2-year cycle. So as it moves into Aries, it starts a whole 2-year cycle. Jupiter has a 12-year cycle. So there's new cycles beginning that are in conjunction with this new moon that is super powerful. And again, we have these eclipses, which are new portal opening up too. So, and today, as I'm recording this and into the next couple of days, we have Mars conjunct Jupiter. Now, Mars is the ruler of Aries, so it brings to a head the Aries energies, right? Highlights the strong energies of Aries, the initiating spirit, the pioneering spirit, innovation, just a bonfire for life is Mars energy at its best. Like passion is a Mars quality that's positive. On the downside is unresolved anger. Stuff can come to a head, unresolved. I mean, Mars is the god of war, so it can be war-like energies, right? So something interesting on Tuesday last week, when the horrific shooting at Uvalde happened, Mars was transitioning into Aries that day. So it went from 29 degrees of Pisces, the very last degree of the whole zodiac, into 0 degrees of Aries. So it was on that world axis. So even though these events happened in Texas, this was world news, right? And so this was an example of how this god of war moving into its home turf, showed up in an actual event that was horrific, but just like a god of war would do. And Jupiter being conjunct it heightened it, made it magnified, right? So I have been praying that poison be turned to medicine in this situation, and for the healing of the hearts of all these people whose lives were deeply affected, and for all time, right? In this small community whose lives were all greatly changed. So, so please join me in that prayer for these people to turn poison to medicine in their own personal lives, but for us to be able to turn poison to medicine with this horrible epidemic that we have in our country of mass shootings, right? So there's lots at stake there. I believe there's a big lack of focus on mental health is a component, and stricter gun laws, I think, is the combo to really bring about a change. And that's not about me tapping into politics. That's just what I believe personally. But again, Mars conjunct Jupiter on the world axis, major event that happened coming out of an explosion of anger that affected the whole world. So that's an example of, again, how transits can show up. So Jupiter and Mars are exactly conjunct today, and they'll be conjunct all week. They're exactly conjunct today on Sunday. We're still going to be feeling this conjunction tomorrow in the new moon. We'll be feeling it for a while. Mars will, gradually speed up and leave the orbit of Jupiter, but it's going to hang with it'll be in the conjunction to Jupiter all week. So there's, again, Jupiter makes things bigger. It can bring good luck. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. To me, also interesting is that this is the baby of the zodiac. This is about our inner children. It's about our children. Aries is about children. So the fact that this happened, because it could have happened on the Cancer world axis, or the, Libra world axis, or the Capricorn. But the fact that Mars on the world axis in Aries, is the inner child, the new beginning, this is, I don't know. See, just interesting how these things connect to me. I mean, I'm an astrology nerd though, so um, so watch out for volatility this week, right? Your own anger being stirred up. And I've been saying this, if you'll watch my videos, I've been saying this for weeks about the Mars and the Aries energies, because any planets moving through, even the moon moving through Aries, can stir up unresolved anger issues. If you have anger issues that you have not resolved, or the people around you haven't, when, you know, planets move through this sign that's ruled by the war god Mars, it can be very volatile. And if you know any Aries, you probably experience an explosive temper from time to time, depending on what else they have in their signs. Like I'm a triple Aries, so I can definitely have an explosive temper. I've got Libra rising, which really helps temper that, because I'm really easygoing in my basic nature, but don't piss me off or do the same stupid thing several times, because that really stirs me up. Or when I'm having my planets be personally activated. So right now, this conjunction of Mars, my ruling planet, and Jupiter is happening right between my Mercury, which is at 1 degree Aries, and my Sun, which is at 5 degrees of Aries. So I'm feeling personally activated in a way to make new beginnings in my life. That was one of the reasons why going to a prayer circle this weekend was powerful for me, to just sort of consecrate and dedicate sort of what I want to be going on for the next 2 to 12 years, right? Mars and then Jupiter cycle. So with this new moon, I would ask you to keep in mind that for yourself as well. What do you want to begin new for the next couple of years? What do you want to have active and moving forward? Because Mars is also how we take action and put energy into things. So it's how we move through space. So where do you need movement in your life? And again, wherever Aries is in your chart, it's going to be highlighted that area of your chart. For me, I have Aries in my 7th house, which is the house of relationships. So I experienced new beginning. Like I met new friends this weekend, right? So that's new relationships. 7th house is relationships of all kinds, new people coming in with my ruling planet and Jupiter there conjunct, right? So that's just an example of how that can happen. If you'd like to know about more personally how these signs and these planets are affecting you, we can set up a private reading. I usually do most of my readings via Zoom, wherever you are on the planet. And then we can dive more deeply into your personal chart and how the transits are affecting you. So wherever you have Gemini in your chart is where there's new beginnings. And also in wherever you have Aries is new beginnings. So these are the 2 areas of your life. Okay, so Mercury at this new moon, the ruler of the new moon, is at Taurus, like I said. So it's in several different interesting aspects. It's in a sextile with Neptune, which is at 25 degrees of Pisces. So Mercury at 26, Neptune's at 25. It's a 1 degree orb. So that's a pretty tight sextile. A sextile is a beautiful connection. Neptune in Pisces is all about our spiritual and psychic connections, basically about sliding the mind, Mercury, to the side and receiving intuition, psychic, and spiritual connections. So this could be a wonderful revelation from spirit, from your own intuition, right? So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your psychic hits. And again, refer back to the video last week if you want to know more about what psychic hits could look like in your life. So also in a relationship to Mercury is the planet Saturn. Saturn's at 25 degrees of Aquarius. So that's in a square, which can be a contentious relationship. Saturn is how we form things, how we structure our life. And again, it's slowing down to move retrograde. So it's gathering in its potency. So, you know, it's about boundaries. In Aquarius, it's also about our connections with other people. It's about humanity. It's like, how do you structure your life around the people in your life, right? Is it out of balance? Like, do you spend too much time with and for others and not enough time for yourself? Are you spending time with people who don't value you? Again, Mercury and Taurus. Do you need to set limits? Saturn's where we apply time and effort, right? And when Saturn goes retrograde, it's an outer planet. So it's more about shifting the energy of like, what do I need to shift within myself? How do I balance my time and energy? But it's in this Aquarius humanity sign. So it can also be impacting our mind, our mental faculties. Like, where do I need to set boundaries with our minds, right? This could be about also creating more time and space to meditate, going back to that Neptune sextiling Mercury, which should be extra easy, right? So it can be a little bit challenging to try to set up boundaries. And again, Saturn and Mercury are both stationing to turn different directions this week. So this square can be extra contentious this week, right? So we could really have come to Jesus meetings with communication with others and setting up boundaries like, no, I'm not going to do that. No, that's not going to work for me, right? So Saturn says no. It's a stop sign. It's the rerouting. It's about time and timing, right? So it may just say, it's not time yet. Even though there's all this new beginning energy, there may be an area of your life where it's like not quite the right time, right? Saturn moving retrograde would go, well, maybe not yet. Right. So when Saturn, what the cool thing about when Saturn, so it moves retrograde, it'll go back over these places that it's already moved through in Aquarius, and then it'll turn around and head back forward again. So when it comes back forward, it can bring rewards. Saturn also will bring like benefits for when you put in the good hard work. So again, wherever Aquarius rules your chart, is where if you apply extra effort right now and be extra thoughtful, mindful, then you could end up having some really productive inner work, inner changes, shifting of your habits and behaviors that can bring rewards later this year when Saturn turns back direct again. Let's see what else. Oh, and the other thing is that Mercury is in a trine with Pluto. Pluto's at 28 degrees. It is also retrograde. So again, it's just 2 degrees off this trine. Pluto's about death and transformation. Pluto retrograde is also about empowering ourselves. How do we stand up for ourselves? How do we communicate, Mercury, our empowerment? How can we make transformations in our communication? How can we shift a power dynamic to where we feel empowered instead of someone outside of us having the power, right? So these are new beginning energies that can like affect. So it's like all these put a powerful stamp on this new moon, right? You connect the dots with me. Are you with me still? So those are all the conjunctions going on. What's also really interesting right now, so Venus has entered her home turf of Taurus, the divine feminine in her home sign, the divine masculine, Mars, is in his home sign of Aries, and then Neptune, the psychic spiritual radar planet, is in its home sign in Pisces. So we have 3 planets in their home signs, which is extra cool and powerful. And like the divine feminine and the divine masculine kind of balancing out in our lives. And then the divine psychic and spiritual sort of holding it all together. To me, this could be a really great integration of that divine masculine feminine within ourselves. I think there also can be wonderful, beautiful manifestations of relationships where the divine masculine and feminine qualities are showing up in relationships. And that's whether you're, male, female, gay, straight, like it doesn't matter. Like everybody has divine masculine and feminine. So, but it's the dynamic of a relationship, right? Too, with centering in the divine. So can be really cool. I feel like some healing can happen and some maybe new beginnings in relationships with the Aries energy and the new moon this week. There could be new relationships kicking up starting in June. Did I put the date down here? I didn't put the date, but it's not this week. So in June, not the first week of June, when Mercury goes back into Gemini, it will be in its home sign as well. So that will have like a couple week period where we'll have 4 planets in their home sign. I mean, Neptune's going to stay hanging out in Pisces for a while because it's a slow moving planet. Mars and Venus and Mercury are inner planets. They're more affect us personally. And so when they're in their home turf, it's really an empowerment tuning, a tuning. Like if you do Reiki, this is like a powerful attuning. So this is a great week and month moving into June of just getting things balanced in our lives as I see it. Let me take a swig here of my tea. All right, let's see what else I wrote down in my notes. All right, let's just talk about the moon. So the moon is in Gemini today on Sunday. It'll be new and in Gemini on Monday and on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, it moves into Cancer. And one thing I have noticed personally, and in the world of my clients and my children and the people around me, is when the moon moves through Cancer, the moon is the ruler of Cancer, emotions are heightened. Sensitive folks like myself are extra sensitive, right? So just pay attention. See if you notice any upping in your emotionality or sensitivity when the moon is in Cancer. And that will be Wednesday and Thursday, part of Friday. Then Friday, the moon will move into Leo just in time for the weekend. Having the moon in this gregarious fire sign for the weekend should be a really great weekend ahead. And if you're in Austin, Texas, here's a plug. My son, Rafe Marie, is the bass player in a band called Tinted Vision, and he has his debut show at Antone's. He's been playing with this band for about 4 years. They are opening up for Quentin and the Past Lives. Is that not a cool name? And this guy puts on a fabulous show. And then Vallejo. So that's the lineup. Saturday, June 4th at Antone's, which is renowned blues club here in Austin, Texas. So if you're available, and go ahead and get tickets. My sense is that this is going to be a show that gets sold out. So if you want to see my son's band Tinted Vision playing, they're going to play at 8, and then Quentin is at 9 and Vallejo's at 10. So that'll be a great show. So Leo moon, it should be a party. It should be awesome. Leo loves the stage, so it'll really amp up all these artists. So if you want to see a great show in Austin, Texas, Saturday, June 4th, come down to Antone's. Get your tickets ahead of time though. Okay, and then we'll have Saturn going retrograde on Sunday. So those are the big transits of this week. There's also some interesting Black Moon Lilith, which represents our deep-seated fears, right? So where Black Moon Lilith is in your birth chart shows where fears are carried over from past lives that you've meant to heal and clear. Where it's transiting, it's healing a certain area. So it's in the first decan of Cancer. So again, it's healing our emotions. Black Moon Lilith is about fears, false evidence appearing real. So, Cancer is about our security and safety. Do we feel safe? Are we afraid, right? So Black Moon Lilith has a square to Mars on Tuesday. So this is a contentious relationship with the god of war. So that can be kind of dicey. It's also, again, how we take energy, put action into things. So it can be, are we afraid of new beginnings? That could get stirred up this week. Like, we're afraid of starting in new areas. Are we afraid of beginning new relationships, for example? That could come up again. A fear is not real. A fear can create anxiety, but if we track it through, I've heard the opposite of fear is love. I think it's also safety and security and feeling safe. Like, I am safe. I am safe is a great mantra. When you have fear get stirred up, you can just, like, whatever's going down, you can just say, I am safe. I'm protected and loved by the universe, kind of thing. Also, then on Wednesday, the moon in Cancer will cross over Black Moon Lilith. So this will highlight fears as well. And again, so it could be an extra emotional day. And then on Thursday, Venus is in a sextile with Black Moon Lilith. A sextile is a positive relationship. So Venus can be that maybe someone we love or how we receive energy can help heal a fear. Maybe we get exactly the medicine we need from another soul on this planet to help us heal. So I think fears can get stirred up, they can get extra charged and activated, and then we can go, oh, shift it. So I feel like there could be a shifting and a healing around your fears this week. Well, I'm getting goosies with that, which is one of my signs that something is right on when I said it. Again, Mercury goes direct on Friday. I have it going direct at 3 a.m. Austin, Texas time. So the middle of the night, Thursday night to Friday morning, wake up to Mercury going direct. Now, the energy starts moving forward, but it's going to be till June 19th, till it gets out of its shadow, completely wrapping up the lesson of this Mercury retrograde. So just know that shades of Mercury retrograde could still kind of be showing up. And this one has been particularly gnarly. I don't know about you, but I've had my Bluetooth go belly up. I've had a tablet go belly up. I've had text not be able to send. I've had to restart my phone a million times because I couldn't send a text, or I couldn't. I had to change passwords on social media stuff because there was like signs that someone may have been trying to hack in, like these are all Mercury retrograde kind of things. So it's been kind of minor, no major calamities, knock on some wood. But I'll be glad when Mercury starts moving direct again. And then again, Saturn moves retrograde next Sunday on the 5th. So that's the highlights for the week. Let me see if there's anything else in my notes. Oh, Mercury is in a trine to Pluto till like the mid part of June. So it's not a direct aspect, but we're going to be feeling it will be direct again when it starts going back direct. So this transformation in communication and our thoughts is a powerful player for a while. It's not just one day. It's like really we're feeling this for the next couple weeks. So that's just like sort of an ongoing transit. Again, we're still feeling the ongoing eclipses, which in Scorpio was about releasing powerful karmic patterns, and in Taurus was about new beginnings and valuing ourselves. So we can still be feeling these effects of the eclipses continuing. Let's see. Oh, and I talked about Uranus being in a semi-square, which is a hard aspect because squares are hard and semi-squares are hard to the world axis. So Uranus is sudden unexpected things that can affect everyone on the planet with it 15 degrees. So again, when it was semi-squaring Mars, and it still is with Mars being at 3 degrees, 15, is halfway through the 30-degree points. So there still is a looser semi-square happening with Mars. So there's still a volatile period going on here. And Mars is going to be, I think Mars traipsing through Aries is particularly toxic if people who have not resolved their stuff. Right. So January 6th happened when Mars was at 29 degrees of Aries, the very last degree point of Aries. So, of course, I'll be talking about it before it gets closer. It's just moved into Aries, so it's not there yet. But, what heads up, trust your intuition when it goes to moving out in the world and doing things, saying yes to things, like make sure things feel right to pursue before you go do them, right? Because this Mars energy, volatile, and this whole week, Jupiter is magnifying the Mars energy. Again, if there's positive Mars energy, passion, it can be like, woo, you can meet a new person, new beginnings, right? And have it be passion be off the chain. That can be a way where it can show up where it's a positive. You can initiate something new, Mars energy, initiation, and it be a powerful new start, new beginning, right? In any area of your life, but particularly wherever Aries is ruling your chart. So, give a lot of thought to where you want to have this jet fuel of power going in your life, right? And make sure that you're centering yourself, breathing deeply, meditating, doing things to clear out your emotional body and your mental body so that you're present and not in a reactionary mode to the universe, right? Because the universe is a reflection of yourself. So if you're more centered, you have a tendency to walk out in the world and things are more peaceful and copacetic. Or if things aren't, you have an ability to distance yourself and observe it instead of feeling yanked or triggered, right? So the more centered you are, it's kind of imperative with these intensive Mars transits to make sure you are centered and are feeling, turning up the volume on peace so that we can all create peace to the collective right now that's so darn volatile. I really am also concerned about the situation in the Ukraine. I've been concerned about that since before it even started, but with this tensioning of Mars and Jupiter and Mars traipsing through Aries, I just feel like it could really get super come to a head. I mean, hopefully it'll come to a head to end things. That's what would be my ideal scenario. And I've been putting out peace. And the same thing, like with the victims of the shooting, is the victims in Ukraine. May they turn poison to medicine in their lives. May they be able to find peace and joy. May this be a catalyst to great growth and development for them, has been my prayer for the situation. And, you know, to highlight what egomaniacs do when they're in power, you know, people that shouldn't be in power. Yeah, that's all I have to say on that one at the moment. Okay, I think that's all my notes for this week. Should be a good one, as long as you go out into the world centered. Or maybe you don't go out into the world, you stay home and work on extra centering. So we can send positive vibrations out to those that need it. All right, so now I'm going to do readings for all 12 signs. Now this is for sun signs, moon signs, rising signs, or if you have a stellium in a particular sign. So stellium is 3 or more planets in a sign. If you don't know your time of birth, you cannot know your rising sign. And sometimes your moon sign, since the moon can change in a day, we can have the moon in one sign in the morning and it can transition into another sign that same day. So if you don't know the time, moon sign could be questionable. Rising sign, you definitely don't know. The rising sign changes every 2 hours, right? So the exact time gives you exact numbers in astrology. And if it's not on your birth certificate, which most people have the time on their birth certificate, if they can lay their hands on their birth certificate, if you can't lay your hands on your birth certificate, there are forensic astrologers out there who can take 7 major events in your life and be able to deduce what your rising sign is. Maybe not to the exact degree, but at least give you some insight into that, because the rising sign is a very important sign. And so if you don't know it, you're missing a big chunk of your identity, basically, and what you're doing here on this planet if you don't know your rising sign. So all right, so we'll start with Aries. Let's see what Aries need to know this week. So you may feel this Mars-Jupiter conjunction personally. You can feel extra highlighted in terms of whoever you are and whatever you're doing on this planet. You could have a spotlight shown on you. And again, you could feel extra irritable because things could be stirred up. All right. Let's see what the card is. The inner voice card. Okay, so this is about really listening to your own inner voice, tapping into your psychic voice. To me, it's the same. Like, we all have a divine energy within us. I call that my Buddha nature, since I'm a Buddhist. You can call that your Christ self, your higher self, your divine self, whatever your spiritual background or lack thereof is. It's the part of your soul that carries on after we put our bodies and our egos down. The part of the energy that continues on and comes back again into another body. Your inner voice is the voice of that soul body. It's our psychic abilities. It is wired for everyone. Everyone has intuition. So the inner voice card is saying, highlighted this week are not your thoughts, Mercury retrograde, communications as much as your inner voice, your downloads from spirit, your messages from your spirit guides or loved ones on the other side. So this means dreams could be extra vivid. You may be having strong psychic signals. What I love about the two dolphins here are they're, right? They kind of telepathically communicate with each other. So this is about, you may pick up on people that are thinking of you and then get a confirmation that they are in some way, shape, form, or fashion. This can be about love relationship with the two. It's there's a two here and the dolphins here. So this can be a beautiful relationship coming together. So some of you Aries may experience a beautiful love relationship happening, psychic connection, everything feeling really harmonious and copacetic in your relationships, or maybe a new relationship comes in, or a relationship you're already in gets taken to that next level where you're really feeling psychically connected to the person. There's a whole head here coming out of the third eye here. So there's a whole wisdom brain here that wants to dispense information. So it's about, again, sliding the mind to the side, sliding the emotional body to the side, and hearing what the higher self, the divine self, the inner voice wants to communicate to you this week. I would write things down as you get them. I would write your dreams down. I would write certain psychic hits down just to log them. When I'm working with clients for psychic development, that's one of the things I suggest, is just writing down when you get hits that get confirmed, when you get deja vu, when you have a vivid dream, when someone confirms a psychic hit, or when you override a psychic hit and realize, oh, see, I knew that, I got that, I just ignored it. So there's a crystal here too. So working with stones and crystals, like this big chunk here, I mined this one in Arkansas. There's a crystal mine there that I highly recommend going to. Coleman's mine. Yeah, let me see if there's anything else. Water element, this blue. So the water, it's like drinking lots of water, making sure you're staying fully hydrated. That really helps flush the mental and emotional body, keep our bodies super healthy. You might want to go swimming this week, Aries, get into water, soak in a tub, soak in a hot tub if you've got one, and just like it feels like you need to calm your spirit. The water is soothing, right, and calming. And so with all this extra sort of fiery energy of Mars in your home turf, you may need to counteract the extra charge with some cooling waters. Yeah, and that's what I get for the Aries. Move on to the Tauruses. Got the healing card. So I feel like this is about taking the steps to make sure that your health, physical health, emotional health, mental health, and spiritual health are all taken care of. To me, this is about balancing out the different aspects of your life. And are you doing what you need to do to create the epitome of health, right? So Uranus is in Taurus right now. So it's in your home sign. So you could have already had some health surprises coming up because it's been sitting in Taurus for a few years now. It's going to be there for a few more years, but in the mid-decan. So if you have any planets or points at 15 degrees, it could really be stirring up things when it comes to your physical health, emotional health, mental health, spiritual health, all that. So in all those different areas, what can you do this week to create greater health when it comes to your physical health? Is that maybe changing your diet or eliminating something or adding something that you're not eating enough of, or eating too much of, or drinking too much of, or not drinking enough of? What about your physical routine? Is that in a good balance with your exercise, fitness, daily activities? When it comes to spiritual, are you spending time tapping into your higher self and higher power? Are you getting out of your ego to commune with the divine so that you can get the insights into how to take action in these areas? How's your emotional health? Do you need to talk something out with someone to get it off your chest? Do you need to get into some therapy to work on some deep level stuff that just never quite goes away? How about mentally? Like, Mercury's been retrograde, so it's in your sign now. So it's a chance to go back and review how you've been thinking and communicating and being with yourself inside your own mind. Like, how's your thinking towards yourself? Are you valuing yourself, or do you have stinking thinking? How can you heal your thoughts? That's what I'm getting. It's like all those areas, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, to focus on what you can do in each one of these areas this week to create greater health for yourself. That's what I get for the Tauruses. Okay, Geminis. Now you have the new moon in your sign this week, so you can feel an activation of something personal because of that. Got the trust card. This is definitely getting out of anxieties, fears, worries, doubt, getting out of your head and tapping into trust. So how can you get into trust, right? This is about a spiritual connection. It's, do you trust your own higher self to guide you? Do you trust that you're being guided in your life? Can you trust the other people in your life or not? Like, trust issues when it comes to yourself. Can I trust myself to eat right, for example, or say the right thing? Can I trust the people in my life to be there for me in the way that I deserve to be, like, loved? This is ultimately about divine love, because this person is taking that leap of faith, flying through the air. This is trusting the divine, that every little thing is going to be okay, as Bob Marley said. So it's like trusting that you're on the path of evolvement, right? That things are getting better. Sometimes having to take a couple steps back gives us the insights we need to shift and change things in our life. So can you trust yourself and your process? Can you trust that you're exactly where you need to be right now, today, moving forward, this week? Can you trust your intuition to guide you every day? What today do I feel guided to do? And do that thing. Can you take that kind of leap of faith where you can trust your own inner voice? You don't have to go with the logical, rational plan that you can't decide between. This pink color is also jumping out to me here. So I just feel like it's really about self-love too, turning up the volume on self-love and self-compassion, like not beating yourself up for anything you've done before. Like, you can't change it, right? If it happened 2 seconds ago, it's now history, much less 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 decades ago, 2 lifetimes ago. It's over, right? So you have the point of power in this moment moving forward to change the trajectory that you're going. And if you trust yourself in your process, it's a lot more exciting than if you walk through your life full of fear, full of worry, full of anxiety, which, you know, Geminis can tend to do because they get up in those heads and bounce everything back and forth and figure everything out, over figure things out. So this is about really taking a leap of faith, to trust intuition, to know I'm doing the right thing and everything's going to work out for good in the end. So that's what I have for the Geminis for this week. Cancers. Okay, we got the suppression card coming in for y'all. This is difficult emotions, right? Imploding feelings. This can feel like the weight of the world on you. This could be anxiety, worry, doubt, fear. To me, I feel like can be future based, like worrying about the outcome of something you're in the process of. Maybe you're kind of nervous about a clean slate, new beginning in your life, whether that's a new career path or a new relationship, that there's like some anxiety being coming up because of the past and that it's not been great. And so this then would be clearing out the past debris, old relationship debris, old job debris, like whatever it is that's kind of in there as gunk. The suppression card means like, nope, I don't want to feel this, right? Like, nope. You've shoved something away and haven't been able to move through it fully when it's happened. So then it starts bubbling up, right? So if you just stop and address it and dive into it and shift it, you can move through it really quickly. This doesn't mean you have to stay stuck in this awful, intensive state all week long. It just means that things can get stirred up. Again, we'll have the moon moving through your sign this week, so it can activate you in a particularly strong way. But notice all the orange, the beautiful orange colors that's behind the ropes in here. Like if you turn your attention to what you can have gratitude towards and the good things in your life, my sense is that there's way more good things to be grateful for than there's things to be worried or fearful or anxious about, right? If it's something in the future, you can't control the future anyway. So what can you do about it today, right? Can you get into a place of trust and peace and serenity and know that it's all going to work out at the divine right time? And then what do I need to help move something? Are you stuck in some feelings that you need help with? You need to get some Reiki from someone. You need to get a massage from someone. You need to get any kind of body work. If you need to go to a therapist and work something out on a deep level, do you need to get a reading from me? What do you need to do to shift the energy so that you don't have to stay in this suppressed? Because this is the stuff, the gunky stuff that leads to depression, where you just get stuck in, or you pick up a substance and you just drown your sorrows because you fall into the moat that's around the castle instead of stepping into the castle. So don't get stuck in the moat. Move through it, deal with it. Don't run away from it. Look at it. What's here? What is up? Sometimes we don't even know we're running. We haven't, like, how am I feeling? Until someone goes, how are you feeling? You went, how am I feeling? You cannot even be in touch with it, right? So stay in touch with your feelings, clear your feelings, love yourself in the best way possible, and do the next right thing, right? And you'll move through this week. This is an opportunity to shift something deep. My feeling is that something from the eclipse really stirred up some really gnarly stuff from you. So this feels like it's still debris, kind of hangover, leftover from that deep Scorpio eclipse that's still kind of coughing up stuff, because that was trining your sign. So that's just my hit on that. So this is not new stuff, is what it feels like. That's up. It's stuff that your bedfellows with, that you're already very familiar with, is my sense about it. Okay, that's all I get on that. All right, now Leos. Here comes the sun, dee, 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 dee. And this is your ruling planet, is the sun. This is the source card. So it's the sun, but it's also divine light, divine energy showing up in your life, empowered energy. I feel like this weekend with the moon moving into Leo is going to be really awesome for you guys too. So it could be kind of dicey this week with the Cancer moon before then, but I think by the end of the week it's super powerful. But this is source, this is today, right? So you can tap into source energy at any point. You could be in the car in a gnarly traffic jam decide you're going to focus on your breathing and divine light coming in and toxic energy going out. Inhale and exhale. Like, this is about being conscious of the fact that you're not running the show, Leos. There's a divine order, higher sources at play that are not you. But you can tap into this energy and channel it and feel empowered, not from your ego self, but from feeling like you've got the light of the divine coursing through you in a powerful way. This could be insights. This could be sunbathing. It's like getting out in the sun. But it's also an optimistic, positive, like, this should be a good week for you guys this week, with the source card coming out saying, yeah, you're feeling like the divine has your back, that, you're not in it alone, because you're not. How often do you stop to tap into divine source in your mind and your thoughts, tapping into your spirit guides that are there to support you, tapping into the people in your life that are there as a source of support and are there for you in your life? Because I feel like there's some of you Leos that have been isolating or going through a difficult time, and this is about, okay, what today can I do to tap into divine energy and feel empowered and feel my best self and have a sunny, positive, optimistic view of the world? You guys are naturally optimists, being fire signs. So, and you may also be feeling the activation of Jupiter and Mars in Aries, because it's trying your sign. So you could feel like extra impulse to go after things and getting fired up in a positive way to start something new, to like that, and you can do it, like that the universe has your back. So whatever that new thing is, you can feel like it's going to be that much easier, and you've got that much more support from the universe this week, Leos. All right, Virgos. Postponement card. So this is something on hold that's not quite time for yet. I mean, Mercury is still retrograde for most of this week. So, and it's your ruling planet. So it's like, okay, it's almost time for things to shift. So this card also comes up for people when they're depressed. So this could be a chi not being flowing, therefore backing up, creative energy backing up, and you feeling stuck, stifled, not able to have your normal joie de vivre, and really put energy in the way that you want to. Again, Mercury retrograde could have been wreaking havoc on your plans and delaying things or postponing things. So it could be a literal postponement that's happening this week. But it's almost over is my feeling. It's like, okay, this is about to shift. This is not a place that you get stuck in. It's just what's happening now. To me, I would focus on the color here, not what you can't do or what's blocked or stuck. What can you do when you're in a situation where what you want to be moving and shifting isn't moving and shifting? So where can you shift your focus on something in a positive way for something else can be shifting? If you're being depressed, one of the best things you can do is just do movement. Get out and walk around your house, go swimming, pick up the phone and check on someone that you know is struggling. Put your attention on someone else, get some chi flowing somehow. If you're one of those that's struggling with depression, pick up an adult coloring book and color. Just let the creativity flow, creative ideas. My sense is that there's writing. There may have been like some backup. Oh, I want to be writing my journal. I just haven't been doing it. That kind of a thing. So just a little even sentence to start getting. You don't have to write everything that happened to you today. You look at this, right? Today I felt meh. Today I felt, today I was thinking I had this dream, get it flowing in just a small little way. Just a little baby step can get the chi flowing. I always recommend like doing a puzzle, like I said, or adult coloring book or something mindless if you feel blocked or stuck, because at least it kind of puts you in a motion. It's like a meditative to do a puzzles, meditative to do coloring. And then that can free your mind to actually download, your mind is on the little details or whatever, and then your higher self can channel something to you. So, and also the number 4 is here. So maybe something is going to take 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 months, 4 years. I don't think it's 4 years, but there's a number 4 in terms of delay. The 4th, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, that's what I have for the Virgos. All right, we'll go to Libras. What do the Libras need to know this week? So you've got Mars and Jupiter across the planet, across the zodiac from you. So you may feel this new beginning jolt stuff going on in your life too. I just cut on the Lovers card, which jumped out at me in my mind's eye as I was shuffling here. So you guys are the planet of relationships ruled by Venus. So Venus has moved into Taurus, one of its ruling signs, and Libra is the other sign of Venus. So the fact that Venus is in a comfortable place and it's your ruler, even though it's not in your sign, should bode well for relationships for you guys right now, this week. Well, and while Venus is transiting Taurus. And I pulled the consciousness card, or as I like to call it, the Buddha card. This is about tapping into the divine within. One of the things that I thought was super cool when I first started learning about Buddhism 38 years ago was that the philosophy that everyone is a Buddha, right? We all have a divine nature that we can tap into and bring out. And that's what the Buddha's message was that everyone can be enlightened. So how do you go about tapping in to an already enlightened aspect of yourself? This is not about going to accumulate any knowledge or wisdom. It's really about removing the mental blocks, the emotional blocks, the belief system blocks to accessing, first of all, the knowledge that you already have and fully attack divine, wise soul within you. That the ego, the mind, the emotional body covers that up. It's like clouds covering up the sun. So what can you do to burn off the clouds so that you can have access to your divine nature, your Buddha nature? Spiritual practices are the number one thing to do to get in touch with that, right? Actually practice, not just go, oh yeah, I need to meditate or spend 2 minutes meditating, but dive in. Like spend at least 15 minutes meditating, spend 30 minutes, spend an hour, spend 2 hours, right? Do walking meditations where you actually go for a walk. You're not talking to someone, you're not listening to something on your phone. You're actually just paying attention to where you're placing your step. That's an easy one. If you have trouble sitting still and meditating, chanting is a wonderful way to calm your mind. There's lots of different mantras out there. Nam Myoho Renge Kyo happens to be my favorite, the one I was introduced to in 1984 that really transformed my life by chanting. This is the third eye opening here too. So there's like insights, downloads from spirit, dreams that are vivid, communication from your spirit guides, maybe even extraterrestrials. I don't know, the stars are here in the Buddha too. So there could be extraterrestrial communication. Who knows? If you get out of your ego, anything's possible. And this is also, to me, about prayer, because the Buddha, right? You could, there was stories about that the Buddha had such a beautiful voice that people would just relax and feel healed just at the sound of his voice, right? So what are you putting out in the universe, right? How's the sound and tone and quality of your speaking voice when you're speaking to others? How's your energy? How's that affecting the people around you, right? Like, what are you bringing to the world, right? That's what I get for the Libras this week. All right, Scorpios. And we have the fighting card. So, I mean, Mars is also one of your ruling planets, right? So it's the god of war. It's in its home turf. It was the ancient ruler of Scorpio as well, although I like to say that Pluto is. But still, we just had we had a lunar eclipse in your sign. The solar eclipse was opposite your sign. So you might feel a bit picked on. This could be inner struggle, just inner stuff coming up. Mercury retrograde could really be all over you because Mercury is in your opposite sign of Taurus right now. So you could just feel like it's extra intensive for you and struggle. Verbal communications could be coming up. You can be struggling with travel delays or transportation or something with your car or your computer or your phone. The fighting card doesn't have to mean all out war with someone else. It can be an inner struggle. It can just be like, oh, I'm so tired of this, fill in the blank. There may be something that you're not even speaking about. Say the grill over the mouth here could be something that you're imploding about. So resentments that have built up over time, maybe that may get triggered easily right now. The fists are clenched and ready to go to a fight. Like if you don't watch it, you could haul off and probably get into a fisticuffs if you're prone to that kind of thing. You may, if you're not grounded in your body, you could have accidents. So be careful this week. Just find a place for the, getting this resentment and the built up energy, discharge. So movement is a great way to do that. Just going for a walk, like working out in the gym, writing things out, right? Throwing, bricks up against something and smashing it, get in a punching bag. Like literally, if something's really pissed you off, sometimes literally hitting a punching bag can help people. The armor is up, so you're feeling guarded. Maybe you just don't feel safe in the world, and that's just you're fighting anxiety, maybe. And so you're battling against anxiety, and you're tired of battling that. So it could be something like that, not just another person, but it does feel like it's like for most of this week. Mercury goes direct on Friday, so that should really help start shifting the energies. But the beginning of this week could be intensive. Extra love, extra self-care, extra time spent around things so that you have the time to think things through and not act impulsively. Otherwise, you could get into arguments. And just be gentle with yourself. What can you do to do self-care this week? Soaking in a tub, perhaps, or buying yourself some flowers or putting on essential oils. That can help calm the emotional body. Using Bach flower remedies for the emotional body, that can really help. It feels like you need some help, some warm fuzzies instead of cold pricklies in your life, right? So just how can you draw in the warm fuzzies, the warm fuzzy people that you can call or ask to spend time with? Whatever you can do to kind of push things. This too shall pass, but yeah, looks like it could be intensive this week. So just heads up for the Scorpios. All righty, we'll go to the Capricorns now. They'll have the receptivity card. This is being open. What a concept. A lot of Capricorns, y'all already know it all, right? You already got it in charge. Line forms behind me kind of a thing. But this is being open to suggestions from someone else, from the universe. This is downloads from higher self. So like listening to your own inner voice, being open and receptive to the ideas of others, maybe trying listening to someone else, not just thinking in order to respond. Like when someone's talking, like be thinking about what you're going to be saying. Can you be quiet and listen and receive what someone needs to tell you? Like, I feel like listening and hearing other people it's really important this week. And maybe you think you are, but maybe your mind's distracted. Mercury's retrograde after all, and you're not completely giving your all to listening to people is what I'm getting. It could be challenging. But this is like the lotus flower here. This is cause and effect. So this is about also receiving downloads from spirit, into strong intuition, psychic insights, spiritual insights, where you're like, woo, oh, wow, you could have some amazing dreams. You can get some strong psychic hits about other people that can be immensely helpful, is what I'm getting. And just like exactly what you need to receive. And again, I've said this a lot with this card, is that I think about the job of the wide receiver in football. What's his job? His job is just to go get open, right? So that's what this card is about, like just getting open. Do you create time and space to sit and meditate and be still, even if that's like soaking in the tub or going for a walk or run when your mind gets quieted? If you don't create the time and space to access your higher self, you could be running on self-will and run yourself into the drain. So this is like, stop, be still, receive some important information from others, from divine sources, from your own higher self this week. And I think you'll be really glad that you did. Now we'll go to the Aquarians. Saturn going retrograde in your sign may feel a little bit personal, even though Saturn's an outer planet. You can feel like there's something that you have to stop and restructure in a personal way. Just FYI. But I think it's I'm getting that it's an important reevaluating time for you guys. Like, stop, reassess. Are the places I'm going, the people I'm seeing, the way I'm spending my daily groove working for me, right? Am I putting my energies where it is best suited? Am I forwarding my dreams and visions and goals with how I'm spending my time in my day? And if something is a no on that, I think this is the week to begin to make changes on that. The maturity card is the card I pulled, which is about self-care. It's about listening to, how do I care for me better? So are you saying yes to things you really don't want to say yes to? Are you doing too many projects? Are you working with people that you really don't want to be working with? I mean, you may be working with people you love working with. I'm not saying it could be negative, but this is about self-care regardless. It may be, even if you love your job or what you're doing, it could even be a week to take a mental health day just to, like, do good things for yourself. Maybe even clean your house, or, spend extra time sleeping, napping, soaking in the tub, gardening, playing music, like writing. What do you love to do? What brings you joy? What feels like self-care to you? That's what this maturity card is for me when it shows up in a private session. It's about, ooh, time to do self-care. I think the round circle here, it reminds me of Romper Room. If you're old, you know what this show is like. She would look through this round mirror and say, I see Linda and Michael and Susie, and and if your name got called out by Miss Romper Room lady, you're like, oh, this is me. So this is you seeing you. However, like, do you see you and what you need? What do you need? If you were your best friend, what would you suggest that you do for your life, right? Is it self-care, changing your diet, your food, your exercise plan, your meditation plan? Are you putting energy to the things that you love, that makes you fortified, right? So that's self-care too, like diving into an artistic creative project. If that makes you just feel filled up and full, then do that, right? What is self-care to you? It's different for everybody, but this is about really listening to self-care. And I'm always drawn by the fact that this person has got flowers everywhere. So there's a flowering that can happen when you do self-care, and literally sometimes buying yourself flowers or a flowering plant can remind you that your life is flowering. Even if you might feel stuck or overwhelmed, or like, oh, this feels really hard right now, it helps bring in the sweetness in life. But flower remedies may also be important for you to use because most Aquarians I know are very psychically sensitive, very sensitive individuals. So the homeopathics, essential oils, Bach flower remedies, these more subtle essences can really make some powerful shifts. So just a shout out, if you don't know about, that's Bach, like the composer, B-A-C-H. You can Google that, Bach flower remedies. There's a whole, I think there's like 32 different mother oils that can help you do, you know, get more clarity of focus or whatever. They're really specific to energy shifts that you can make. There's some very powerful things. And then of course, the most common one is Rescue Remedy, which is a combo of 5 different Bach flower remedies that is used for a natural stress relief aid. So might need to hit some Bach flower remedies this week, Aquarians. All right, and then we go to the Pisces. You have the receptivity card. This is about getting open. It's about being receptive to the energies around you, your messages from spirit, your messages from your spirit guide, listening to other people, really making sure that you're hearing them completely. This is, to me, I'm feeling there's opportunities from the universe if you just are open and receptive. Are you listening to your intuition on a daily basis? Are you asking your higher self, what today do I feel guided to do, and waiting to get a response and then putting your energies in that way? If you're doing that, then you are on track for your life and things can really be opening up, blooming and blossoming. This lotus flower here, and the head is a lotus flower, and in Buddhism, a lotus flower symbolizes the law of cause and effect, which is like when you set the cause for something, the effect is already set in motion. So this is about when you open up to higher self and spirit, you're affecting a change in your whole soul, even if that big change happens later down the line and not at that exact moment. You're setting the cause. You're saying, I'm willing to be led by my higher self, by the divine. I'm open and receptive to influences from the divine, from my spirit guides in my life. I'm open and receptive to all good that's going to come to me. I'm open and receptive to beautiful people to come into my life. I'm open and receptive to new jobs and opportunities, new creative endeavors. I am open and receptive would be the affirmation that I would suggest that you say this week, Pisces. Repeat that often. I am open and receptive to all good in my life. I'm open and receptive to divine guidance. I'm open and receptive to love in my life. I'm open and receptive to being abundantly blessed. You fill in the blank of what you feel like you need the most, and just affirm that you are open and receptive to those things coming to you. All right. That's what I get for all 12 signs. If you've watched this whole thing, and I know some of you do, thank you so much for your long attention. If you need a private session, you know how to contact me. I'll put the links below. I'll even put the link to the Antones gig that my son is playing at below, so you can click on that if you want to get tickets or get more information. So have a great week. Have a wonderful new moon. Peace.